Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Future You. We have a great topic to talk about today. Andy, this week is a really special week. How come?
Well, Veterans Day is tomorrow. We're recording this on Monday, Veterans Day tomorrow. This is an important day to not just, veterans and family members of veterans and everybody in the United States. It's important to us. We're a veteran-owned company. We've got a lot of veterans that work within our company. Nearly a third of our clients are veterans. So it gives us an opportunity to, serve those that serve us.
And it's also the happy birthday to the Marine Corps as well.
I think it's the 250th birthday today. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
Right. Very exciting stuff. So, would love to talk a little bit about, I had an amazing opportunity this past weekend and I got to be at a Wounded Warrior 5K race in Jacksonville, Florida, and got an opportunity to talk to and thank a lot of our veterans as they walked past and got to hear their stories, and very emotional, very inspiring. And it is really cool when you're a veteran owned company being able to do things to give back to our military community. And Andy, one of the things that we're really focused on, and I explained it to folks this past weekend, was we're really big about education. And talk to me a little bit about some of the challenges we face in our space being a mortgage lender with the VA home loan and some of the misconceptions that are just out there.
Yeah, right. Listen, there's a lot of great benefits to folks that serve our country, whether you're actively serving or you've retired or your service has ended. They include the GI Bill for education, healthcare while you're acting in the military, and even post-military career for many, and buying a home. I would put buying a home as one of the top three benefits for active service members and veterans. What's interesting though is there's all data tells us there's a high level of awareness to the home benefits of the VA mortgage program, but there's a low level of awareness to exactly what those benefits are. And so we spend a lot of time on that in our markets, trying to educate real estate agents, the community, our friends, those that are serving. And that's the bridge we're trying to build, along with a lot of other lenders as well. I think a lot of lenders have started to rush towards this community to really help them out, because a lot of data is telling us that, I think 92% of veterans are aware of their benefits, but less than 30% of them actually use them.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of pride. A lot of the folks that I know I've talked to, there's a lot of, these are for people who have had it harder than me or worse than me. They're not for me. And dispelling those types of myths and making sure everyone understands that these are benefits you earned for the sacrifice that you gave us. But there are a lot of those out there. There are a lot of there's just a whole lot of pride within that military community. It's pretty amazing.
Well, there should be. I mean, you should have a lot of pride if you've served the country, but you should also have a lot of pride in utilizing the benefits that serving the country provides to you as well. So let's start there, right? Let's get into it. Let's first start about buying a home, right? Because that's the majority of our clients. That's the majority of the business we do. There are three things I want to call out for veterans that you should never even hesitate to consider using these benefits for. They're for all veterans, all eligible veterans. One, down payment. Usually when you buy a house, you need to put a down payment down. Down payments can range anywhere from 3 to 3.5% on the low end for non-veterans. I mean, there are some other programs out there like down payment assistance and USDA, but in general, the 90+% of the housing market, you're having to put at least some minimum down payment. And a lot of those down payments come with mortgage insurance, unless you're putting 20% down. If you are a veteran and you have eligible benefits to utilize to buy a home, you can buy a home with zero down. And not only can you buy a home with zero down, there is no mortgage insurance on the loan as well. So it saves a lot of money. The second real part of the benefit is the VA mortgage program itself has better interest rates in the market than non-VA loans. I ran a quick scenario before we jumped on here, a pretty common home purchase scenario of a $400,000 purchase price. If if somebody's putting 10% down on a conventional loan on that loan scenario today, you're probably talking about 6.625% interest rate that you're going to pay on that mortgage every single month. And that's you putting, $40,000 down in that transaction, a $400,000 home purchase. And that monthly payment, that principal and interest payments, almost $2,400 a month. That same home purchase for a veteran that puts zero down, so they buy a house for $400,000, they get a loan for $400,000. The interest rate today, comparatively speaking to cost, is right under 6%. In fact, I got one rate quote from a lender of 5.99%. That's a 5/8% better interest rate on the loan, which that alone saves you almost $700 a year in interest. The second thing is the payment is only, I think, $75 more a month for the veteran than the conventional borrower there, and they're borrowing all the money. You have $40,000 more on your mortgage because you put zero down. You didn't have to liquidate money or come up with 10% down. You almost have the same payment because of the better interest rate. So it is truly powerful for veterans in terms of buying power, maybe qualifying for a little bit more, and your payment not necessarily being that impacted, especially when you don't have to apply mortgage insurance to the loan.
Now, Andy, do all lenders have a lower interest rate on VA loans?
I can't speak for all lenders, right? We do. We have a significantly better rate on a VA mortgage. Some lenders may not have that good of a spread between their conventional loans and their VA loans, probably, which is why most lenders, only 7 to 8% of their clients are veterans, where more than 30% of ours are veterans. We do, but you should, generally speaking, be able to get a more competitive rate quote on a VA mortgage in the market. With mortgage brokers specifically, you're probably even going to get an even more competitive rate quote with how this side of the business works. The last thing I'd say is, veterans' financial profiles can be very complicated, especially while they're serving, right? They might, the amount of times they move, the way they make money, some of the other benefits in terms of housing allowances. It can be complicated for a lender that doesn't necessarily do this a lot. The good news is there's a lot of lenders that do, like us. And the second great thing is the flexibility in getting somebody approved in a complicated financial profile. In my opinion, there is more rope to extend out credit and get lending approved for a veteran than there is for alternative programs like conventional loans. There are some scenarios I just don't think we'd ever be able to get approved for a client, especially when it comes to maybe like debt to income, even credit, even just a combination of credit risks. For veterans, the program, the lenders, just the financial community in general has a lot more slack on credit risk scenarios to say, yeah, we're going to get this veteran into this house.
Which is awesome, because I do think there's a lot of different misconceptions out there about this program. And really the spirit behind the entire program, you mentioned the GI Bill, everything behind it is to protect and give back to those who gave to us. So unfortunately, not every single person that offers these types of programs or works with our veterans understand it, know it, have all the benefits. So the importance of talking to somebody who knows what they are doing to really protect a benefit that someone worked extremely hard to get, and that they deserve the best of everything from A to Z. So it is an amazing program, and anybody that says different doesn't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of proactive events in the market. Let me just throw it up right here, right now. Like if you're an active service member or veteran, and maybe there's some trepidation you have in calling somebody or talking to somebody about like figuring out how it works, like just email us, email help@future.loans. I just put the banner up. And we can start anywhere. You can just basically tell us, hey, I don't know anything. Let's start from scratch. We'll take our time. We'll be very patient with you. We'll make sure that we educate you on all of your benefits and how they work and how you can utilize them to, forward whatever goal you have when it comes to homeowning or financing homes. Let's now talk, we talked about the advantages of buying a house. Let's say you already have bought a house as a veteran and you've used your VA benefits, because there's even an enhanced benefit in refinancing a mortgage, especially if you're in a lower interest rate environment. And right now, we are in a lower interest rate environment, specifically for clients that have maybe taken out financing in the last few years. Rates come down a little bit. And those that are benefiting most and the quickest are homeowners that took out a VA mortgage program. The reason is because the VA benefits not only have benefits for purchases, but they have benefits for refinancing as well. I'm going to use a term in the business called a VA IRRL, IRRRL. And the VA IRRL program is specifically utilized to refinance an existing VA mortgage, not necessarily to take cash out of the house, just refinance what's owed. We can roll in the cost of the refinance. And two great things about the VA IRRL. Three. One, they're a lot cheaper than refinancing any other type of mortgage. There's no appraisal required. Typically, lenders have much lower, even internal fees to refinance them because they happen so quickly. There's a lot less to operationally to process these loans. So that's one of the big benefits. Second benefit is, again, interest rates. The VA IRRL refinance interest rates are much better than most other programs in the market. So, if you're listening to this right now and you're over, I'd say even a 6.5% interest rate right now on an existing VA mortgage loan, you should be talking to a loan officer right now about savings in a refinance, because your break even, you probably make any costs back up in that refinance probably within 2 years. The third is, the process is easier for, nobody loves applying for a mortgage. Everybody loves when they got it. Right? They got their home, they're saving some money on interest, but nobody really loves applying for and going through the process of a mortgage. Some mortgage processes, depending if you work with some of the really, really big banks or lenders in the country, can take weeks, sometimes months to close. With companies like ours, we can close almost anything in 20, 30 days. But on a VA IRRL refinance, we're not talking about weeks. We're talking about maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks to get these loans done, because there's just so little that is required in getting these loans to refinance, because we already have a bunch of information. So does the VA administration. We can do it with very little red tape and get you done.
That's awesome. And that's a perfect thing for someone to know that's buying today and maybe they don't have the rate that they wanted. You can turn around really quickly and refinance that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then the last thing, it's a little bit of myth busting, right? Sometimes, you might get a little bit of pause from, let's say, a real estate agent or a home seller if you make an offer of, this offer is going to, the buyers may be using their VA benefits. They might show some trepidation. That irritates us, quite honestly. Like, the reason that happens is because the VA administration's put guidelines in place to make sure that a veteran doesn't go into a home that's dangerous for him or is unsafe for him. So there's a little extra work that an appraiser needs to do and a lender needs to do to make sure his home's safe. Like, a real good example, are there railings on, any entries into the house if there's steps provided, right? Or does the house have safe windows? Is it structurally safe? Most loans should have those same guidelines, but with VA loans in general, there's just a little bit more. But, we look at all of our data, and all of our data tells us that even those little extra requirements, they have zero impact on our ability to get a loan approved, get a loan clear to close. In fact, we close our VA loans maybe a day or two quicker than we close every other loan. I can't explain why, but we do. And I think if I put my shoes in me being a veteran and I'm buying a house, and that's what my VA mortgage benefits are doing, is they're saying, hey, we're going to be a little bit more scrutinizing on the property you're buying. That's a good thing for me, because the last thing I want to do is buy a house that's maybe unsafe for me, or it's going to have problems down the road that I wasn't necessarily aware of.
Yeah, totally agree. It's about the veteran being in a place that's habitable and safe for them and their families. That's right. Really what the VA is looking at.
Listen, if you're listening to this, whether you're a veteran yourself, or even if you're not a veteran, you know somebody, or you just want to learn more about it yourself, or there's something else we said that intrigued you, just email us. Email us at help@Future.Loans, and we'd love to connect with you. And our total vision of this organization is we help people, we educate people, we give people all the information they need to make really strong, sound decisions for themselves.
Got it. Thanks again, Andy. Thanks for joining us, and happy Veterans Day. And thank you for all of those that have served.
Same, Andrea. Have a great day.